Hello, everyone. Sorry about that. Hello, everyone. Sorry about that. I had to switch mics. I was playing around for the last hour trying to do a test. So we're going to wait a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds for people to come in. I do apologize. I was supposed to start at 7:30. It's now 7:35. So we're going to wait on a couple. Don't have any one here yet, but nonetheless, we'll go ahead and get started. So first, just want to make sure I say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone. All right, you can hear me now. All right, sorry about that. I was messing around with different microphones without trying to use this headset. So, but nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and get started. So again, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everyone. Hope you've got all your Christmas shopping done. I know I have, and I am not spending any more money. We're going to do another live stream this month because it did a test your quiz in a Kahoot to test your knowledge on the VA claims process. We did that December 17th. So I'm sorry, December 10th of this month. So I'm going to do a live stream because I did that instead. But a lot of people, they were asking, hey, this you're going to do a live stream. So I want to do one before right before Christmas. And the winner of that test of knowledge was Mr. Blackman. He won, had 20 people that signed up, but we end up having maybe 5 or 6 veterans. Had an awesome time. I had 30 questions as it pertains to the VA disability compensation claims process. A lot of people say, oh, I saw all your videos. So I went through each video, tried to take a question from every video, at least one from each video. Had about 30 questions. It was a $200 Amazon $200 prize, and it was in the form of an Amazon gift card. So during that time, during the quiz, I learned some stuff. It was very interactive. It was just some valuable information. So for those of you that signed up that didn't log in, hey, you missed out. So I'm going to do it again next month. So I don't have it on my webpage as of yet, but I will post that soon. So be on the lookout for that. So as we go through this, I'm going to ask some questions and answer some questions as I go along. So I got about 9 different topics I'm going to talk about, some things that I see that's going on within the VA disability compensation claims process. And also I'm going to talk about some things as it pertains to some questions that I get in my YouTube comment section, and also some questions that veterans email me. Okay, so I'm going to go over some of those as well. So please feel free in the chat window, feel free to ask questions, and I'll stop as I go along. Merry Christmas. Who is this? Fernando. Feliz Navidad, Fernando, Mexico. Fellow veterans from Mexico, 100% PNT with SMCL. Congratulations. That's not easy. So I'm glad you're able to get those benefits maximized. Okay. So the first topic, okay, I see you, Jacksonville. So the first topic I'm going to talk about is I updated my website with my new educational training for January 2021. And I've created some training around a lot of the questions that I get. Okay. A lot of veterans, they ask me questions in the comments section of my YouTube videos. And I tell you, it's hard to give answers because unless you're looking at a lot of information, then it's hard to give answers. Okay. I get a lot of short questions. If I file this or if I file that. So I decided to just, I haven't posted my live Q&A, my group Q&As. I also do private Q&As where I do one-on-one with veterans. That way, if they don't feel comfortable asking questions in a public setting, they can do it in a private a private setting. Okay. But there is other educational training. One that I haven't listed that I am going to list is nexus statement training. I did a YouTube video on it early on this year. And I talk about it in my monthly educational webinar. Okay. But I'm still getting a lot of questions from veterans that they don't know when they need a nexus statement. And more so, they don't know what needs to go into a nexus statement. Okay. I've heard a lot of veterans say they pay a lot of money for a nexus statement and they don't need it. You know, for example, if you're filing an increase in something, then you don't need a nexus statement. But people, they still think that they need a nexus statement. So I'm going to update that training. Hopefully I have it on my website tomorrow. I'm going to give two sessions next month. So you definitely want to register for that. It'll be about an hour. I'm going to go over the things that are needed, okay, for a nexus, what goes into a nexus statement. And then I'm going to show you an example of a, you know, just a format. There's no set format for a nexus statement, but you want to make sure that you have this information in there. Okay. I may show you an example of one that I did, that my doctor did for me early on in my claims process. Okay. So let's see if we got any questions here. Veterans disability claims. Okay, I see it says a lot of money can be wasted on nexus statements. Wow. Say that again, veteran disability claims. You are exactly right. And that's why I'm doing that training, because I've heard veterans paying $400 from $400 up to $1,200 for nexus statements. And it's not correct. Okay. Which means it's not actionable and sufficient for rating purposes. Okay. So you definitely, you want to know what goes into it. Okay. What needs to go into it. And if you're doing an increase, I'll just say this now, if you're doing an increase, there's no reason why you would need a nexus statement, but I could be wrong. I just could not find any reason why you would need to do a nexus statement if you're claiming an increase. I don't know. If somebody could tell me, please do. I can't find a reason why you would. Okay. So good feedback there. Veterans disability claims. Let's see. Says got Ms. Solomon does applying for the auto allowance. Okay. Don't understand the question. I'm assuming you're asking about auto allowance, but I'm not for sure. Okay, I just started to go. Let's see, Brooklyn vet. I just started to go to the VA and saying, okay, all right, okay, we're talking to each other. So again, if you have questions, please put them in the comment section. San Antonio, Texas. Hey, Dwayne, what's going on? P. Adams, Atlantic Beach, Florida. Okay, Lakeland, Florida. Okay, so I don't see we have any questions. It's just people talking. So I'm going to go on to the next topic. And the next topic is DBQs. I'm going to do a DBQ update. Okay, Todd, I'll get back to you right after this. I'll go over this DBQ update. Veterans, you know, I talk to several veterans. I talk to a lot of veterans on a daily basis and a weekly basis. And, you know, I'm going to be polite when I say this, okay? You have to be educated on DBQs, meaning you have to be educated as to when a DBQ is actionable and sufficient for rating purposes. That means, has the DBQ expired? Telehealth, telemental, okay? You have to be educated on this, okay? Again, veterans are going out paying a lot of money for DBQs. The DBQ is expired and it's not actionable and sufficient for rating purposes because it's done by telehealth, meaning that they've done it over the phone and the doctor that completed the DBQ didn't review any evidence. Okay. And then the veteran wonders why they get scheduled for a C&P exam. Now, you heard me talk about before in my personal experience where my DBQ, I submitted for a claim for increase. It was sufficient and actionable for rating purposes, and the VA still scheduled a C&P exam. for me. And I was like, no, I'm not going. A lot of people see that video and they ask me, oh, well, you said I didn't have to go. No, you obviously didn't view the entire video or understand what I was stating. I was already service connected. I knew that my DBQ was sufficient and actionable for rating purposes. There was no need for the VA to schedule an exam. I looked at my DBQ for the increase and I was like, hey, there's no reason. I'm not going. Okay. Now, I talked to vets and they say, well, this doctor did the DBQ, that doctor did the DBQ. Oh, but I'm in, state of Kentucky. The doctor was in Seattle, Washington. No, it doesn't work like that. Okay. Unless you went in person. All right. I've heard somebody sent me an article. Did have it up. I think I took it down. Yeah. So it's an article from studentveterans.org. Okay. I may put this article in the description section, but I went through and I was like, okay, they had a section, and I'll just read it briefly, but I'll put the link to this article in the description section. So when you click on it and it gets to the web browser, what you can do is hit Control F and then type in DBQ. You're going to do a search, okay? And then it's going to take you to the two sections that list the paragraph that talks about DBQs. And it's a short paragraph, so I'll read it. It says, Disability Benefit Questionnaire Study requires VA to continue providing the Disability Benefit Questionnaire online while they study and report a potentially better way to administer the DBQ in a way that allows VA to weigh medical evidence equally, regardless of whether provided by a VA or non-VA provider. If a better process is found, VA must implement it within 2 years of their report. Now, what does that mean? I have absolutely no clue. So as a veteran, if I was still doing my claim, I would still make sure that the DBQ is sufficient and actionable for rating purposes. Like I stated earlier, you want to make sure that it hasn't expired, and you want to make sure that it was done in person. That's, I think that's where you need to start with that. Okay. So are they going to bring them back? Personally, I don't think so. I hope that I'm wrong. But if they do, I personally believe that they're going to make it, it's going to be a little bit more stringent or strict on veterans. So just make sure if they do, I'll make sure I'll do a YouTube video or possibly go live and just talk about it. And I'll do some research on it before then. Okay. But again, educate yourself on DBQs. I did some previous videos, especially telehealth and telemental. You definitely want to go out and take a look at that video. Okay. All right. So let me get back to some questions here. Todd says, yes, I have a question. I was just rated 70% for PTSD, taking my overall rating from 60 to 90. Congratulations. Decision said TDIU was deferred, but I never applied for it. What does that mean? Okay, Todd. A lot of times when a rater can grant you IU, they have to defer it. So more than likely, you should have received, or you will be receiving, along with that rating decision, a VA Form 21-8940 soliciting a claim from you for IU. Now, raters cannot defer TDIU if it's going to be a denial. They can only solicit for TDIU if they know that they can grant it. But stranger things have happened. But that's what that means. They have enough evidence to grant IU, so they have to solicit a claim for IU from you by sending you VA Form 21-8940. So I don't know, Todd, I don't know when you received that rating decision. So if you did, go back and read it. And I did a video on my 5-part series back in September. Things, how to be successful in the claims process. And a lot of veterans do not read the notification letter, which is on top in the packet. And then the second part of that is the rating decision. When you get that rating, the notification letter and the rating decision, take the time to read all of it. Okay. I'll get questions and I'll say, well, what did they say in the notification letter? Oh, I don't know. I just looked at my service connection and they gave me this large retro. You have to read all of it. And even in one of my YouTube videos, I stated that even if it's a grant and they give you a large retro, you still want to make sure that that rating was completed correctly. Okay, you definitely you want to make sure you do that. All right. So, Todd, if I didn't ask you a question, just ask it again. Make sure give me a thumbs up, Todd, to make sure I answer your questions. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see what else. Who we got? Who we got? Stokes. How many times can the VA request a vet take a CMP exam? It depends. You know, is it an RFE, a routine future exam that's scheduled? Um, if it's a condition that is not considered permanent, let's just say prostate cancer or any cancer, unless the doctor states that that condition is terminal, meaning a cancer, then you may have 3 or 4 exams over a 2-year period for that cancer condition. Okay. And they'll stop scheduling exams once the doctor says, hey, this, prostate cancer, if it's for a male veteran, prostate cancer is the veteran is terminal, then they're not going to schedule for another exam. If it's a routine future, it just depends on the RVSR and what they see in the evidence. They may schedule 1 routine future or possibly 2. It just depends. It's hard to say. It just depends on the condition and the evidence. Okay, but normally I didn't see maybe the most I've seen even for cancers, maybe like 3 or 4. And then by that time, if it goes into remission, then they have to rate on the residuals. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's see, Mr. Blackman. Again, I just see Mr. Blackman. I did shout out for you, Mr. Blackman, congratulating you on winning the Test Your Knowledge quiz. Todd Mark says, thanks. Okay, Todd, I'm glad I was able to answer your question. Veterans disability claims, they are about to become public again. Veterans disability claims, I'm thinking the same thing. If you see any information out there, like articles or something like that, shoot me an email. I would definitely like to share it with other vets, or if you have that now, put it in the comment section. I hope they do bring them back. But again, veterans disability claims, like I said, veterans got to get educated on making sure that they're doing it the correct way. So when they submit it and they make that educated decision or not to go to the exam, if the VSR or the VA schedule them for a CMP exam, they're educated on, hey, I know that my DBQ is sufficient and actionable for rating purposes. Let's see what else we got. DBQs. Don says, if my condition has been static for 10 years, how can the VA do a reduction? That's kind of a hard question to answer. Again, you need to know, we need to know the condition. If you came in for an increase for that particular condition, how long that percentage for that particular condition has been in effect. If, for example, Don, if your service connected for PTSD at 70%, okay? And let's just say, and I talked about this in a previous video, I think last month, pertaining to reductions and stuff like that, static conditions. So let's just say your service connected for PTSD at 70%. And that 70% has been in effect for more than 5 years. And you're going for an increase. And that CMP exam shows that that condition has improved. Now, they can't reduce you based off one exam as long as that condition, that percentage has about 70% has been in effect for more than 5 years. Okay, so they should state something. I can't remember the verbiage exactly, but it will state something like, we receive evidence that this condition has improved. Such and such 38 CFR hasn't been met, due process, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But that's VA language for don't come back again in the next 5 years, because you do, and we get 2 exams within 5 years showing that you should be reduced. Now they can do a proposal to reduce. Okay, keep that in mind. All right. When I did that video about the protection rule, do you have to continue to seek treatment and stuff like that? It took me about, I can't remember, maybe about 4 or 5 hours. I was in the M21 as it pertains to the protection rules and stuff. And there's a lot of regulations as it pertains to when they can reduce and when they can and stuff like that. Okay. So again, I always encourage veterans to go out. You can watch YouTube videos all day, but you still have to go out and do some type of legwork as it pertains to your claim. All right. So Don, I hope I was able to answer that question. Navy Diver says, how soon? Orlando says, does applying for outlaw lines put your rating at risk? I'm at 100% PNT. Again, it depends on how long you've been service connected for certain conditions and what you're applying for. Okay. A lot of people think that, oh, I'm going in for increase for my PTSD. They're going to look at my ankle. No, I mean, rarely, seldom. Now, if you're going in for an increase for your back, and if you're familiar with the back Dbq, let's say, for instance, you're going in for an increase for your back, right? And you're service connected for radiculopathy as well. On that back Dbq, there's a section pertaining to radiculopathy. So that depending on examiner, they may ask you some questions about it or they may not. But if they fill that section out and it shows that radiculopathy is improved and that percentage for that radiculopathy has been in effect less than 5 years, then that could cause you some issues. So again, it depends on your individual claim and what you're claiming. Okay. So again, you got to be educated on your particular claim. All right. Let's see. Oh. Brooklyn Vet says, does anyone know about LHI? Are they good? They are the ones who will be doing my CMP exam. Heard mixed reviews about a lot of the third-party contractors, LHI, QTC, VES services. Some depending on where you're at, just like CMP examiners, depending on which VA CMP examiner you get, is going to depend on that examiner. It just depends. Okay. Steven says, let's see. Okay. NVA's individual unemployment payments to disabled veterans at the full retirement age. Social Security link. Okay. Right. I don't understand that. No trouble with LHI. Okay. All right. Hey, good results. Okay. J-Bone says, Dwayne, how do I claim ED secondary to diabetes or meds due to lower back issues? Remember, there's 5 ways of service connection. And one of those is secondary. Just file a claim. You can, if you're claiming something secondary, you tell them that you're claiming it secondary to the service connected condition. Okay. Joseph says, my sleep apnea was deferred. What does this mean? Combat PTSD 70-30. Okay. All right. As it pertains to questions like that, I can't answer it. I don't have your claim folder in front of me to see, what's what. I'm, only person that knows why that was deferred is the person that deferred it. Now, if you receive a rating decision and they defer it, they should tell you what they deferred it for. Exam clarification, to request a medical C&P exam or something like that. And so if you receive a rating, and if it says deferred, it may say for additional development. I know those kind of vague answers, but unless they say, it's clear cut and they say, we're requesting a C&P exam, something like that. But Joseph, I'm sorry, I don't have enough information to say why they deferred a particular condition. So if you received a rating decision in the mail, then you want to look at that rating decision. All right. Todd says, yep, you answered it perfectly. Thank you. I just got the decision letter last week. Okay. Yep, Todd. So just go back and look at it and see the notification letter on the last page. They should say included documents or something. And if you go to that last page of the notification letter, it should say included VA form 21-8940. And that's the claim form for IU. Okay. Kevin says, thank you for helping vets. Hey, no problem. It's my mission to help veterans. Veterans Disability Claim says, if you mention bilateral, they should rate you for both. Deferred means delayed for more information, often an exam. You are correct. Veterans Disability Claims. Veterans have to read that. It could be for additional development, for requests for private medical records, where they're going to send you a VA form 21-4142. If you apply for IU, they may be saying, okay, we're going to go out for employment information. It could be a number of things, but they should state why in that rating decision, why they deferred it. Now, if you're looking at Ebenefits or something like that, I don't know if they go into that much detail. But when they do a rating decision, they're not supposed to deny everything and defer. You cannot deny and defer. It has to be something in there that they granted. So they can grant one condition, deny 15 other conditions and defer one issue, but they can't deny 14 issues and defer one. They can't deny and defer. Okay. Let's see what other questions we got. Hello, Stephanie Hurt says hello. How you doing, Stephanie? Delmar TIU, and I'm on SSDI due to my service connected disability. How does it help? TIU, and I'm on SSDI for due to my service connection. Delmar, I'm not clear on your question. Or you asking? You're on SSDI and you're trying to get TDIU. I'm assuming that's what you're asking. I'm not for sure, but ask the question again. Just clarify it for me, okay? Let's see what else we got here. Dark Beard. Never tell them that the medicine work in the C&P exam, they would reduce you. Yes and no, Dark. It depends. A lot of people say, oh, they'll reduce you for this, they'll reduce you for that. That's not always the case. Again, you got to be familiar with your claim. And what I mean by that, say for instance, you're going in for any condition, whether it be increase or you're claiming a condition. If you're claiming, let's say, migraines, I always like to use that as an example. You want to go and educate yourself on diagnostic code 8100. What is the criteria for migraines? It is 0, 30, and 50%. So when you get in that exam, you know what you're talking about, and you're just not talking because you could talk yourself out of service connection. Okay. Let's see. Chili Mac 2010 says, hi, Mr. Kimball. How you doing? I heard a rumor that Dbqs will not be allowed soon. Is that true? Well, they're expiring right now. I hear that they're coming back. I hope that they do. But again, veterans got to get educated on Dbqs. All right. And a lot of veterans say, oh, they're not using Dbqs anymore. And I always ask people when they tell me that, provide me the 38 CFR or the M21 that the VA has stated that they're no longer accepting Dbqs, okay? And no one has still been able to provide me that. But what I'm telling people is if you look at all the Dbqs that are out there, a lot of them have expired. Some are expiring next week on the 31st, and I believe it's like the back, the neck, a lot of the joint Dbqs, okay? So if you hadn't got it in by now, you're pushing the envelope, okay? I think the PTSD review and other than mental PTSD review Dbq is expiring next May or June. I'm not for sure. Okay. All right. Todd has another question. If the rater is deferring TDIU for development, what is the usual time frame before they solicit info from me? If they solicit, if you receive the rating decision, and Todd, if you receive the rating decision, they deferred it, they're soliciting you at that in that rating. Again, go back to the notification letter, read all of the notification letter, and read all of the rating decision. When you get that when you get the packet, the rating decision is on the top, and the notification letter is on the top, and the rating decision follows that. Again, people, you have got to read that entire packet, not just parts of it. So, Todd, if you receive the rating decision and they defer it to TDIU, that's the solicitation. Okay. All right. Get them public again by law. Okay. Just going through here, Alex. How can I submit the best claim to request increase and my symptoms have worsened since my last C&P exam? Okay. Like I said earlier, I updated my training for next month. I get a few people here and there. These are some of the things that I talk about in my monthly training. And I share some of my personal experience, like how I worded my claim. Okay. Things that I did. Go in depth in it. Okay. Sign up for the training. It's worth your while. You're gonna learn a lot. Trust me. Okay. But again, you got to get educated. That's how you be successful with your claim. You get educated. If my symptoms have worsened, are your symptoms in the next higher? If you're doing an increase, the symptoms that you know you have under the diagnostic code criteria for that particular condition, is it in the next higher valuation that you're seeking? You got to get educated. You got to go get that diagnostic code, and that for that diagnosis that you're service connected for, read it and see where you fall. Okay. I give examples in my monthly training. I talk about that. Okay. Dark beard. I was 100% IU for 2 years and then rolled over permanent without no paperwork. Hey, good job. Congratulations. Paul Mill, what's the best way to get your C file if they refuse to send it after you filed a FOIA request? I am glad you said that, Paul, because look what I have right here. Okay. I have a video that's scheduled to come out this Sunday at 5 p.m., I believe, Eastern time. But what I did, I submitted my FOIA request. I haven't heard anybody, the VA, saying that they refuse to send somebody the claim file after the FOIA request. I've never heard that. But Paul, for your question, I go into detail in the video that's going to be published this Sunday. Okay. I believe it's the 28th. Sunday, the 28th? Nope, the 27th. Okay. Where I talk about some things that I did as it pertains to my claim file. So not only do I have it on paper, okay, I have it on CD. And when I got this, I went through it. I spent the time. It took me about about 2 hours. Okay. And I went through this. I just didn't get it, set it down. I wanted to see what was in here. And I was shocked because there was some stuff that I haven't seen in years that was in here. Okay. So I always tell people, if you file a high level review or an appeal without this, you're shooting in the dark. Unless you have a paper copy of stuff that you've kept over the years. Okay. You have to have that information in front of you. All right. So you know what you're talking about when you get that informal conference or you have an actual formal conference before a BVA judge. Okay. It's not what you say, it's what you can prove. Okay. All right. Let's see. We got a question. What does a 0% rating of chronic fatigue mean? Did I not prove my situation? Let's see. Again, you got to get educated. So if you're service connected, and majority of my videos in the description section, I list how you get a copy of the summary breakdown letter. And the summary breakdown letter is not the same summary letter that you get in Ebenefits. Summary breakdown letter lists every condition your service connected for, the percentage for that particular condition, and the diagnostic code. All right. So for chronic fatigue syndrome, did I not prove my situation? If you got a 0%, probably not. But let's just, shoot, I'm on the wrong one. I'm sorry. I was looking up fibromyalgia. I don't know chronic fatigue syndrome. Okay, so yeah, that's probably fibromyalgia. Nope, that's not it. So what I would say, get a summary breakdown letter. A lot of people don't look in the description section. And that's one of the topics I was going to talk about. When I do my videos, I put a lot of information in the description section. People that watch the videos, do not click that show more button. Click that show more button and you'll see how to get a summary breakdown letter. You get that letter, it'll list all the benefit, all the service connected conditions your service connected for, the percentage, and the 4-digit diagnostic code. When you get that 4-digit diagnostic code, you go to the rating schedule. You can Google it, VA diagnostic code, whatever it is, and it'll show you all the criteria. So for that 0% for chronic fatigue syndrome, it'll show you the criteria for the next hire. Okay, because what you may be thinking are the symptoms for the next hire may not be. So if you go to that exam and you don't know if you're 0% and you don't know the criteria for the next hire, let's say it's 10%, and you get to talking about, as my grandfather used to say, who shot John and all that other stuff, then you're going to stay at 0. Okay, so again, you got to get educated. You got to get familiar with what you're doing with before the VA in the VA claims process. Okay. Okay, let's see. Man, we got a lot of good questions here. Just trying to go back and make sure I don't miss anybody. It's the best way to go. See file. Okay, got that. Alan, hi. The VA is treating my sleep apnea. Nothing in my medical file. My doc file filled out a SA form, but it expired. Not sure what to do now. I haven't received my rating decision. Thank you. Okay, Alan, go back and look at my video that I did on the 5 ways of service connection. I believe it was my second video. I posted it in January. Okay, then go back and look at my video as I talked about sleep apnea. Okay, and that was the next topic that I was going to get into, the 5 ways of service connection. I'm going to name them. I'm not going to go in depth because I've already talked about it in some other videos, and I actually did one of my first videos on this. 5 ways of service connection: pre-service aggravation, direct, secondary, increase, and presumptive. Whatever you're claiming, you have to ask yourself, whatever you're claiming, whatever condition you're claiming, ask yourself, does it fall under one of the 5 ways of service connection? If it doesn't, more than likely 9 times out of 10, they're going to deny the claim. It doesn't mean, oh, I went to the VA hospital, they diagnosed me with this, now I'm going to claim it. You can do that, but does it fall under one of the 5 ways of service connection? Just because the VA diagnosed you with something, say for example, sleep apnea, it doesn't mean you're going to get service connected for it. That's not the way it works. In my monthly training, I break down the 5 ways of service connection. I talk about direct. What does it mean to get direct? I give some examples of pre-service aggravation. Personal examples, something that I got service connected for, pre-service aggravation. I talk about Gulf War presumptive, Agent Orange presumptive, Camp Lejeune contaminated water presumptive. Vets are not being educated. For example, Camp Lejeune contaminated water. I talk about the 38 CFR, the list of conditions, okay, the time frames that you had to be at Camp Lejeune, and the conditions that's on the list for contaminated water. If that condition is not on that list, like the Agent Orange presumptive on the 38 CFR 3.309E, they're going to deny it unless it falls under one of the other ways of service connection. They're going to deny it. All right. So again, you have to become educated. And if I had to go through this process again, I think the first thing that I would want to become educated on, or I know, is the 5 ways of service connection. It's going to save you a lot of headache, because if it doesn't fall on the 5 ways, more than likely you're going to get denied. Okay. Not saying that you will, but 9 times out of 10, you will. Okay. Gun guy. Hello, vets. God bless, brother. Quick question. Can't pronounce the name, but Mr. N24. God bless you. Thank you. Question. What can you tell me about LHI heavy CMP for audio? I never used, I was already maxed out on my benefits by the time they had third-party contractors. Well, I'll take that back. Right, my last claim, but it depends on where you're at. If they use LHI, I haven't used LHI. And remember, you know, there's hundreds of CMP examiners out there. I've shared my personal story as it pertains to my 4 CMP exams. Excuse me. Why I refused to go to CMP exams and what I did. So every examiner is different. Okay. One person experience at a CMP exam with, a particular third-party contractor in, say, Kentucky could be totally different than somebody in California. Okay. But again, if you're educated on what you're claiming, you know what their criteria is, you shouldn't have any problems. I tell people, be open and honest when you go, but be educated. All right. A lot of veterans go to these CMP exams, or they'll file a high-level review and they're not educated. And then they get frustrated when they don't get service connected or they get reduced. Okay. Let's see. Thanks for sharing your knowledge from behind the veil of VBA. Kong, that's from Kong. I'm not a VA employee. And everybody knows my story about what I used to do. So I won't go into detail on that. Dark beard, you're right. I applied for an increase for migraines when I was already at 50%, not knowing what migraines highest rating was, 50%. I guess that's why they reduced me. I thought my migraines could go higher. Again, when my clients, when I put together that educational packet, we're talking about diagnostic codes and the criteria. In my monthly training, there's a section where I'm talking about diagnostic code, rating code sheets, summary breakdown letters, rating schedule, what to look for, how do you get educated. I'm going to keep saying that all night. And actually, that's going to be a Kahoot question. In my previous live stream, what word did I use 100 times? Educated, education, okay? So that's definitely going to be a question in my next test of knowledge, okay? All right. Michael McDonald says my routine exam date says none. What does that mean? You do not have a routine future. So if you have a rating code sheet, top right hand corner says none. That means you do not have a routine future exam. I did a video on routine future exams. I listed the M21 where in the description section. So if you're curious about routine future exams, go back and check out that video. And then the M21 policy or reference is in where? The description section. That's another question I'm going to put on the next quiz. Where do I list all my information? In the description section. All right. Let's see. Steven Stiles says January 2020, under the first alternative, VA would stop making IU payments to veterans age 67 or older, the full retirement age for Social Security benefits for those born after 1951. FYI. I haven't heard anything on that, Stephen. But yeah, thanks for the update. Let's see. MA, if Veterans Health Care and Benefits Improvement Act of 2020 is signed by the president, the VA will be required to post DBQs publicly online. This bill just passed the House and Senate last week. I hope that's true, but anything else with the VA moves slower than a turtle. So I hope they get that up there for veterans. But again, a lot of veterans may be saying, oh, yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But if you're not educated on DBQs, what good does having a DBQ? Okay, then you submit it They schedule you for an exam. Do you know if your DBQ is actionable? Uh, Actionable and sufficient for rating purposes. And guess what? One of my trainings is going to be next month. I am going to review a PTSD review DBQ. I did it last August, so I'm going to do it again. It's on my training calendar. Not my it's on my calendar link on my website. Okay. And where's my website? In the description section of all my videos. All right. Hello, Stephanie Hurt says, hello, Dwayne. Great to see you. Okay, thank you. Can insomnia and sleep disturbance be a secondary claim to PTSD? Also, can I sign up for the training? Yes, Stephanie, please go to my website. I'm going to put that in there right now. Info. Sorry, not info. www.kmd. Oh, I can't type today. Info, no, www.kmd. Okay. So I just put my website in the Stephanie, I put my website in the comments chat box. I'm sorry. So definitely go there and check that out. Now, sleep disturbance and insomnia, secondary PTSD. If you look on the PTSD review DBQ or other mental other than PTSD DBQ, it's 2 mental DBQs. In this symptom section, one of the symptoms is sleep disturbance. Okay, so that's actually, yeah, sleep disturbance is wait a minute. Yep, sleep disturbance. It's a symptom. So claiming it's secondary. Now, a lot of veterans claim sleep apnea secondary to PTSD. I actually saw a medical opinion about a couple of months ago, well, a couple of weeks ago, where a psychiatrist provided a medical opinion, positive medical opinion, saying that the veteran's sleep apnea was secondary to their PTSD. It was a strong nexus statement. I was like, wow. Of course, when the vet submitted the DBQ with the medical opinion and the rationale, which a lot of veterans do not know what rationales are, but I'm going to talk about that in my Nexus training statement. Nexus statement training next month. The doctor completed all the information correctly, and guess what happened? The veteran, I think, submitted it. He said that he submitted it to the VA. They scheduled an exam. The veteran felt that, hey, I didn't go because I knew that I met the sleep apnea criteria, meaning they had a sleep study showing a diagnosis of sleep apnea, had the PTSD DBQ along with a nexus statement for sleep apnea, and the veteran got service connected. Okay, I was totally shocked. So at the end of the day, obviously the veteran was well educated, and he knew what he was, on that particular process, and was able to get it pushed through. Okay. Let's see what other questions. A lot of good questions, everyone. I definitely appreciate it. The bill improves other things as well. Yeah. Great to see you. Okay. Ray Blackman. Appreciate it, Mr. Blackman. He says, hey, everyone, there's 68 watching. Please give Dwayne a thumbs up. I got 33 thumbs up and 70 people. Okay, so make sure you hit that that thumbs up, the like button. Okay, appreciate it. Okay, thanks. Ron says, hello, Mr. Kimball. How you doing, Ron? Chili Mac, thank you, Mr. Kimball. You're more than welcome. Paul, they said it had personal info and some blah, blah, blah reason why they decided only to send the CNP. Even Congressman office was involved. I never involved my congressman or congresswoman in the claims process, because what I used to see, they send a letter to the VA, then the VA send a letter back saying, hey, this is what we're doing, blah, 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 and that's it. Okay. In the description section of the video, I list the verbiage that I use to receive my claim folder. If you go back and look at some other videos in the description section of this video, I think I put it on this live stream as well. So make sure you go and you check that out, Paul, and submit it again. It took me 11 months. They received it, I believe, on January 8th or the 11th or something like that. And I got it the week of Thanksgiving, a couple days before Thanksgiving. Okay. And in the video that I'm going to post, that's going to be posted this Sunday, I go into detail a little bit more about this. Okay. Google all this and save yourself the effort of watching. Okay, Jennifer. All right. Yep, you can. Um, and she's right. You can. Jennifer Martin says, Google all this and save yourself the effort of watching. She's totally right. But if you ever go into 38 CFR subpart A, B, C, it's like a black hole. Okay. When I did the video for where I talked about the protection rules and stuff like that, I was only in the M21. I went into 38 CFR for a couple of things, to review a couple of things. I was in there before I knew it 3 hours. And there were several regulations and policies. Okay. And I didn't even scratch the surface. So again, you have to figure out what you're doing. And before you go in there, then you can figure out, if you're looking at, okay, why did they schedule a routine future exam? Okay. You can go watch one of my videos and also go on M21 and, you can find some answers there. All right. Jennifer Martin, she says, bye. Okay. All right. Fernando says, it took me about 2 weeks after I received my decision letter to realize that I was P&T with SMC, LOL. Again, Fernando, question. Did you read that entire notification letter and rating decision? I talk about in one of my videos in September, I did a 5-part series, and one of them is reading your rating decision. Then I did another video about permanent and total chapter 35, and I listed what to look for. It's not going to say permanent and total P&T. It's not going to say it in the rating decision. It's going to say chapter 35 DA benefits or something like that. That's what you're looking for. If you see that, then it's P&T. Okay, you're permanent and total. All right. See, PG says receiving exposure therapy at the VA from a PTSD and have a scheduled CMP examination in 3 weeks for PTSD. Will this have an impact from my CMP examiner perspective that I am still in treatment? Actually, I think that it may, depending on the RVSR that is rating your claim. I've seen veterans get treatment at the VA on and off for a mental condition. They go and get a Dbq from a private physician, and that Dbq shows they're at 100%. RVSR sees it. Nope. Because they're looking at your treatment from the VA and all that treatment. If the doctor at the VA didn't notate what's really going on with you, then that could cause an issue. But that's going to depend on the RVSR. Who knows if the examiner will look at your treatment? Some examiners do. Some say they do and don't, and some don't at all. So it's hard to say. It's going to depend on the examiner. But it's nothing prevent the veteran, you as a veteran, to speak about, hey, how my condition possibly has gotten worse. Okay. J-Bone says, thanks for all the video education. Not a problem. SPG Joseph says, I recently completed a general med CMP. They did the range of motion and took x-rays on both my knees. Should I hear something back from the VA on this? If you claimed it, did you claim knees? If you claim something, then yeah, you should hear something back. Todd says, Fernando, don't feel bad. I was today years old when I realized I was being solicited for TIU. Okay. Yeah, Todd, Mark. Hey, make sure you go and you read that notification letter again. Okay, Todd? Hey, look at one of my cool cups, my tumblers. One of my clients, they surprised me with this. They put my Army rank on one side and they put this on the other side. This was a gift for one of my clients. And yeah, it was pretty cool. Um, they do is they have a Facebook page, I think glitter something, but they turn these tumblers in. They did one for my wife. She's an Air Force vet. It was real cool. Yeah, let's see. Okay, next topic. Caregiver program. I've been getting a lot of questions about the caregiver program. Mainly what I talk about is on the benefit, VBA, Veterans Benefit Administration. Caregiver program is on the VHA side, Veterans Healthcare Administration. In my last live stream, I think I talked about it, and I put some links to the VHA's website where you can go and see how to apply, see if you qualify, and how you apply, and things of that nature. Okay. I was talking to a vet about the caregiver program today, and they didn't know. And actually, talking to the vet, I was like, man, well, they qualify for the caregiver program and aid and attendance. Now, remember, when you're claiming aid and attendance, anything under the caregiver program and auto adaptive housing or something like that, they have to be for what? You got to be service connected for that condition. Okay. So if you look at the aid and attendance form, VA form 21-2680, there's a question. What diagnosis, require you to need to have aid and attendance? And I always think that's a quick, I lost my chain of thought. I always thought that was a trick question because I think it should be worded with service connected conditions. Because when veterans put down conditions that they're not service connected, that could cause you a lot of problems. Okay. So, especially as it pertains to aid and attendance, it has to be for service connected conditions. If you're claiming IU, it has to be, you're stating that you can't work due to what? Service connected disabilities, not non-service connected disabilities, service connected disabilities. There could be some outliers out there, outliners or something, special situations, but for the majority of the time, is due to service connected conditions. Okay. Let's see. I'll take some more questions here. Um, Ron says, "Hello, Mr. Kimball. If I request for SMCK for ED, I'm pretty sure you said I'm taking meds. I'm currently 100% PNT. Would the VA reopen my file or send me for a CMP exam? Also, can I file claim through my VSO?" Yeah, you can file a claim through a VSO. You don't have to, but you can. That's your option as a veteran. If I request SMK for, taking meds. I'm currently simply would the VA reopen my file? I don't know what you mean. I'm assuming that you're saying would they look at other conditions, and that's a misconception. A lot of people say, "Oh yeah, if you're 100% PNT, leave it alone because they'll go and they'll look at everything." No, they won't. That's untrue. Someone tells you that, ask them to show you the 38 CFR or the M21 reference that shows you that. I gave some example earlier where if you're going for an increase or something, they could look at something else, especially if it's a common complication. But if you're just claiming, ED secondary to medication for, let's say, PTSD, then no. But you got to be educated because if you're going in for ED, that's a genitourinary exam. And if they schedule you for a mental, you might want to pump the brakes and start asking questions, okay? Because you didn't claim an increase in the PTSD, you claim ED secondary to the medication for your mental condition, okay? Kenneth, question. Got denied 2 conditions for service connection, but right under it said you have 2 disabilities. What does that mean? Kenneth, I would have to look at the rating decision to see what that means. It's kind of vague question. So I'm not sure. But again, whatever you claim, you got to ask yourself, whatever condition they denied, where do they fall under the 5 ways of service connection? If you received a CMP exam and you got denied, then more than likely some RVSRs put the actual negative medical opinion in there from the examiner, the CMP examiner. So if you get a CMP exam, majority of the time, it's not the RVSR that's denying you. They're actually writing the rating decision, but it's the CMP examiner that provided the negative opinion. And I actually been talking to some vets, and they said, oh, I had a really cool C&P examiner. Yeah, they were really nice, and they were telling me this, and they were doing that, and you should, and then they get a rating decision, and they were denied. One thing that I did not become comfortable with my C&P examiner. I didn't care how nice they were. I wasn't going to fall for the okie doke. Okay. I was in the test your quiz back on test your knowledge quiz that I did back on the 10th. I had everyone laughing because I was like, if I had to go back to an exam, especially for my migraines, it will go something like this. I go in and sit down, and I'm the examiner. Here's the vet. Okay, examiner. Hello, Mr. Kimball. How are you doing today? I'm the vet now. I have 3 to 4 completely prostrating attacks that interfere with my employment. Mr. Kimball, can you verify your last 4? Yes, my last 4 is 0000. Also, I have 3 to 4 completely prostrating attacks, severe of economic inadaptability, or interferes with my employment. Examiner. Okay, Mr. Kimball. So, do you know why you're here today? Me. I have 3 to 4 completely prostrating migraines a month, severe economic inadaptability that interfere with my employment. Examiner. Okay, Mr. Kimball, you've already said that about 5 times. So, when the examiner gets to that question, Mr. Kimball, how many completely prostrating migraine attacks do you have a month? 3 to 4. Okay, this concludes the exam. Do you have anything else you would like to add? You forgot to ask me, does those 3 to 4 completely prostrating migraine attacks interfere with my employment? So please put in the remarks section that the veteran stated that he has 3 to 4 completely prostrating attacks, severe enough for economic inadaptability that interferes with employment. All those statements that I just stated is the 50% criteria for migraines. I'm not going to get comfortable with that examiner. Okay. I've shared some of my stories from a C&P exam. I'm not getting comfortable with that examiner. So, when vets say, oh, they were cool, okay, you fell for the okie doke. You're there for a reason. Educate yourself on the criteria for the condition that you're claiming. Stick to the script, short, direct, to the point. How you doing today? I'm not doing good at all. If you're in there for PTSD, if you're not doing good, say you're not doing good. If you feel upset, say you're not upset. I've seen veterans say they went in. The examiner says, hello, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing fine. And yourself? Yep. They asked a couple of questions. Guess what? Just off that one question, they fill out a whole PTSD DBQ. All right. So don't get comfortable. All right. Let's see what other questions we got here. Gonna wrap it up here, guys. I mean, guys and girls. I'm sorry. Yep, Todd, appreciate it. Everyone hit the like button. 6-7 people, only 47 likes. Michael Baker, hello from Fort Hood, Texas. Another great education video. Awesome job. Yep, I used to be stationed at Fort Hood. I was in the 1st Cavalry Division, 182 FA and 282 FA. Gun guy, if you are 100% PNT, do not file unless you're prepared for them to check out all your claims with a chance of being reduced. I had to disagree with your gun guy. I filed a couple of things after I was 100% PNT, and they did not look at everything. When I used to be a Raider, somebody was 100% PNT. I never went back unless, again, if there was a common denominator or something with that condition. If somebody is service connected for 30 different things, that Raider does not have time. If the vet comes in and claims tinnitus, they do not have the time to go back and look at all those 30 conditions. They're not going to do it. Okay, unless, again, it's a certain situation. But that's why it's important to be educated on your claim before you even file it. Okay? Brutiful says, sir, my rating decision has the wrong effective date. And I replied with an iris, okay, inquiry. They said, state the problem to get clarification, assist my concern. Which way would I go, supplemental or iris? Neither. I did a video on CUEs, clearing up sticker errors. Go back and check that out. Talked to a veteran today about CUEs. So you can actually, could you do an appeal? Yeah. But if you do a CUE, the burden of proof is on the veteran. Okay. So again, I did another video on how to read or review, or the importance of reviewing your rating decision. Okay. So look in the evidence section. One, figure out what is the correct effective date. All right. Because if you did an intent to file and you look at the evidence section of that rating decision and the intent to file is not there, where else would it be? In here. But when you do an intent to file, and I tell veterans this, when you do an intent to file over the phone, always follow up the next day to confirm that it's there. And ask them, will they email you the letter showing that you call in and did intent to file for compensation? That way you'll have it in your paper claims folder. So when you do get the rating decision and they do not use the effective date for the intent to file, now you can call a CUE, or if you want to do a high-level review, it's not what you're saying, is what you can prove because you have it on paper from the VA. Okay. TMP, can it ever be taken away? S-Air, do you mean P&T? I've seen a P&T been taken away a couple of times in about the last 15 years. I think it's been twice I've seen it taken away. Okay. It's very hard. Keep in mind, now, once you reach that 20-year mark, they can never take it away. If you come back in and it shows improvement, your grandfather and you're locked in, they can't. The only way they can take it after 20 years if it's fraud. I just did one of my last videos on that. Okay. John says, recently received 100% disability for asthma. I am being treated by a private doctor for sleep apnea. Would it be worthwhile to pursue the claim? Sleep apnea is secondary to asthma. Both of those fall under the respiratory system. And I think in the respiratory, there's 3 different sections. So as long as they're in separate sections of the respiratory system, it should, let's see, respiratory. Okay. Read 38 CFR 4.96 subpart A, 38 CFR 4.96 special provision regarding evaluation for respiratory conditions. So you want to make sure that it could not be a reason for them to be pyramiding. And when you read that, it'll give the list of, when you look up the diagnostic code for asthma and then you look it up for sleep apnea, when you go to 4.96, it'll give you which conditions cannot be rated together. They have to be broken out or combined in the highest evaluation given for the diagnosis to give the highest evaluation. So just go there and make sure that it wouldn't be pyramiding if you asthma and sleep apnea, because asthma, if it is pyramiding and they combine them, then that's going to give you 100% for asthma. Sleep apnea only goes up to 50%. But I would have to read that. But you can go there, 38 CFR 4.96, and see if they're allowed to break those out. I think so, but I would have to read that paragraph. I don't want to tell you wrong. Okay. Don says, if a doctor says conditions sleep apnea more than likely than not, how does VA review that statement from a board certified doctor? So that's sounds like more along the lines of a positive opinion. So if you have it's least as likely as not, then that's a positive opinion. If it says it's less likely than not, then that's a negative opinion. Okay. S. Air says, where can we email you directly? You go to my website, www.kmd89.com. Where is it? In the description section. At the bottom is a contact information, the phone number, and the email. All right. Tyler says, went to CMP exam for joint pain and back. Went to CMP exam for joint pain back in October. Okay, I'm sorry. Now I'm being told they are going to schedule me to come back for further questioning. Is that normal? No, that's not. I would be curious as to why. You don't see that often for joint pain. You know, if it was something like, cancer or, a real serious disease like multiple sclerosis or something, you may see that. But yeah, have no clue as to why they would bring you back in unless it's a routine future exam. But normally they space those out, like 2 years or something like that. Medical care file. Okay, PG is talking about TBI. I'm not understanding the question. Clarify that for me. Stephanie says, thank you. You're welcome. PG gun guy, would it be okay? Negative impact. Am I long term? Okay. Just going through some questions now, guys. Another thing I wanted to get back to, I got 2 more things I'm going to talk about. GI Bill in Chapter 35. I get a lot of questions about the education benefits. What I talk about and what I'm familiar with is VBA, compensation. Once you obtain Chapter 35, 100% permanent total, in that notification letter, there's a number. Okay. I think it's Muskogee, Oklahoma. They may have one in San Diego, but no, I think it's Muskogee, Oklahoma. They can tell you all about GI Bill, Chapter 35. The RVSR grants the benefit. That's it. And then you have to go through the VA Education Department for everything else. Okay. Even if you call it 800-827-1000, that's not the 800 number for the education. They may give you some information, but they more than likely they're going to defer and say contact the VA Education Department. So I get a lot of comments, a lot of questions in the comment section of my YouTube videos. So I always tell people, I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. Call the 800 number, okay? Because that's education. I know a little bit about it just because I used it for my son at one point. But again, that was years ago. Things constantly change, okay? So I can't give you or answer those questions because the only knowledge I have is just from personal experience. And that was years ago. So things have possibly more than likely changed since then. So if you got questions about GI Bill, Chapter 35, call them, get it from the horse's mouth. I could tell you some things, but I don't want to tell you the wrong things. So that's why I defer people to call the VA Education Department 800 number. Okay. The question say, hello, my question is, which claim is better for me to claim major depressive disorder, somatic symptoms disorder for tinnitus and migraines? For mental, if you look at all the diagnoses and the rating schedule for mental, the criteria is the same for both. Okay. So it'll be up to you. Which one do you have a diagnosis for? If you're claiming the secondary. Kirk Gray, 100% PNT, 42 years old, 22 years retired, Chief Warrant Officer. Can I receive SSDI? That's a Social Security question. I don't know. Never worked for Social Security, never applied for SSDI. I would defer to them. I know people that did. They weren't working. But again, that's a Social Security question. I don't even want to try and attempt to do that because I'm pretty sure I'll get it wrong. Okay. Stephanie, not sure if it's sleep apnea because I am unfamiliar, although I wake up numb and difficult to breathe at times. Yeah, so sleep, I think that was, you said something about sleep disturbance. So they could be sleep sleep disturbance that could be just a symptom of the mental condition. Gun guy, any medical evidence should have a positive impact. If it shows your condition is not good for getting better and you're seeking care, that's good. I've seen veterans submit too much evidence and it goes terrible for them. Know what you're submitting to the VA. Read it. Okay. A lot of veterans don't do it. They just think because they got it in the mail from the doctor and they send it. It's not always a good thing. Read it. Make sure you know what you're sending in. Okay. Chris, what is your take on ACE exams? I hate them. I think they should get rid of them. I don't agree with them because let's say, for instance, you file a claim for increase for migraines and you're at 30% and you don't get any treatment at the VA. Okay. You don't get treatment at the VA, and there's nothing in your claim file as it pertains to migraines since your last rating decision for migraines. So what an ACE exam means, that doctor does not have to call you. They do not have to schedule for an exam. If they don't say anything, they're like, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with him." And if it's been the 30% has been in effect less than 5 years, and they just check the boxes on the migraine Dbq, and it shows 0%, they're going to reduce you. So without even calling you or scheduling a CMP exam. So I hate them. I don't think, at a minimum, they should pick up the phone and call you, because if they call you, what are you going to say? If you're 30% and you think you should be 50, what are you going to say? I have 3 to 4 severe, not maybe that, but what I would say, I have 3 to 4 severe, I have 3 to 4 completely prostrating attacks, severe economic inadaptability, and they interfere with my employment. Okay. So at a minimum, they should call you so you can express that, especially if you're 30% and you know you meet the 50% criteria. Also, Chris says, any recommendations should I ask to speak with the examiner, or should I let the process play out? Thanks for what you do. You're welcome, Chris. I think in some of my claims, especially when I worded my claims, I asked them for a CMP exam. Now, could they done an ACE exam if they wanted to? An examiner is supposed to state when they can do, they have to state when they're doing an ACE exam, and they have to list the evidence that they review. Okay. But each examiner is different. If there's nothing there for the examiner to review, how can they do an ACE exam? Okay. So that's something that you may have to push back on or try and fight later on, depending on what they say in the rating decision. Okay. 1569, Kirk Gray, he did say something about SSDI. So read that. Isaac Andrew says, what if a VA cancel the supplemental claim with no explanation? Wow. They had to have some type of explanation. It's got to be something in your notes, or they gave you a rating decision, or they sent you a letter, something. I've seen, one of the reasons I've seen that they would cancel a supplemental, a veteran appeal to back, say a back condition. Then, it's taking too long for the appeal, and the veteran comes back in and submits a supplemental claim for the back. Then they'll send you a letter saying that we're not going to take issue with it because it's on appeal. But you should get something in the mail. If not, I would definitely call and ask a question. One of the ways you can do that is an IRS inquiry. Definitely look at the video. It's coming out Sunday. I talk about IRS inquiries. Okay. Michael Madonna says, I have a remanded appeal that's back to the VVA. Will my appeal go back on the docket, or will it go back to the judge? If you're that far along in the process, it's tricky. Who knows? It could or it couldn't. I'm not going to say yes, it would, or no, it wouldn't. You're just going to have to let that situation play out. Yep, gun guy, call and be a pest. And understand, when you call the 800 number, a lot of people calling this 800 number like the VSRs at the 800 number, they know everything about your claim. They don't. They're not decision makers. They never was trained to be decision makers, and the information they give you is limited. I've called the 800 number and called the people in several fibs. I didn't tell them what my background was, but when I started speaking the VA language, they, had a couple of them ask me, "You used to work for the VA?" Because of some of the terminology that I used. So then they couldn't pull the wool over my eyes. So again, be direct in what you're asking. Know what you're asking before you call, okay? Because they may say something to you, and for example, if you call and say, "Hey, I received a letter from QTC for some exams," and they say, "Yep, they schedule you for some exams." "Okay, thank you." Hang the phone up. My conversation will go something like this. "I received a letter from QTC saying they would be notifying me that the VA has requested some exams, and they'll notify me of dates and time." If I call the 800 number, "Hello, name's Dwayne Kimball," they verify it. "Can you check the 2507 medical request that was sent to QTC and tell me exactly which exams I'm having?" For example, if you claim PTSD, is it a medical, is it a mental Dbq request on that 2507 request? Yes. So now I know I claim PTSD. So now I know I have an exam coming up. Okay. Claim tinnitus. Can you tell me, is an audio Dbq request on that 2507 request? Yes. So I know. Now, let's just say they say, "Well, there's only an audio schedule." Oh, now there's a problem. You didn't schedule the PTSD exam. Now you got to figure out why. Okay. You're not going to know that because another VSR somewhere schedule it. Now you can ask that person on the phone, "Can you go on my notes and check to see if there's any notes stating why they didn't schedule my PTSD exam?" So again, direct questions, but you got to know which questions to ask. All right. So take a couple more questions. Let's see. Meathead, Mr. Kimball, I'm rated 0% for pest planners. My VA doctor diagnosed me with plantar fasciitis and started getting injections. Do I file a secondary claim even though they are the same diagnostic code? Actually, they are not the same diagnostic code. Let's see. Let me give you those diagnostic codes. Plantar fasciitis, if they're broken out for 10%, it's going to be on the diagnostic code 5284. Plus planus will be on the acquired flat feet 5276. Okay. PG, one more thing. I went to a group called Guitars for Vets. Okay. Something other than what I'm talking about. Sucks, say no. I have you. Okay. When applying, where in the world is E? Okay. That's a name for you. All right. We're applying for aid and attendance to open you 100% P&T. 9 times out of 10 veterans that are granted aid and attendance are already 100%. Okay. Reopen your 100% P&T. Again, you got to look at what you're claiming aid and attendance for. It shouldn't, but again, it's going to depend on your particular claim, what you're claiming. Michael Baker, he says, Google will not give you the inside information reference Jennifer's statement. Yeah, that is true. But again, you still want to go and, especially, if you are claiming an increase in something, if you Google that diagnostic code, you'll see that criteria. So I guess I was confused on that. Derek Ellis, what's happening? Charleston, Missouri high school basketball, Blue Jays. That's what's going on, Mr. Ellis. Fernando, unfortunately, I cannot use the caregiver program for my ANA since I am in Mexico. pay out of pocket for my living. Oh, really? So, Fernando, if you're out of country, you're not allowed the caregiver. I would say if they said if you don't qualify because you're in Mexico, ask them to give you the regulation or policy that states that. I want to see it in writing. I would want to see that in writing. I never heard of that, but wow. Uh, yeah, that's interesting. Gun guy, the VBA makes inconclusive decisions all the time. Yeah, they do. Fernando and the foreign medical program will not reimburse me for my caregiver. Yep. So Fernando, I'll reach out to if you're in Mexico. I know the Houston regional office handle claims in South America, Central and South America, but even though that's VHA, so there should be some type of wherever you get your healthcare treatment through the VA down there, Fernando. Ask the person that either denied you the caregiver to give you the regulation or policy that states that you cannot, that you're not entitled to the caregiver program because you live out of the country. All right. Again, that's a hospital benefit, so I'm not familiar as it pertains to you living out of the country. Hello, this is Scott. I'd like to know what is the best claim for me to file for major depressive disorder. Or so I have tonight. So I think I've already answered that. I will see why they cancel first. Okay. I was called today for thanks. I was called today for a company pen for psychiatric. Man, I'm getting tongue tied. Psychiatric disorder. How do I start out telling my story? This is where I get stuck. If you claim that condition, obviously, ask yourself under the 5 ways of service connection, how did you claim it? And I tell people this, when you're claiming a mental condition, especially PTSD, more likely it's due to a stress. You have a stressor. That stressor can be combat, non-combat, okay? And let's just say it's combat. You was in Afghanistan, you were working checkpoints, or let's just say you was in fear for your life, okay? And you got hit by IED explosion, okay? Now, when you're driving down the street, you're always on high alert. You're always looking to the side, So you have to think about what was your life like before the traumatic event and what has changed after that traumatic event, all right? And that's something that, I express to my clients, especially when you're going into a CMP exam. Had a client said, saw a claim one time. Individual like 27, 28 years old, couple of tours, Southwest Asia, 11 Bravo, infantry, saw a lot of, I was in a lot of firefights, engaged in combat, and came back and his wife was having issues. His wife ended up divorcing him because she was like, "You're not the man I married." He filed a claim for PTSD, went in there and told the examiner. The examiner asked, "Are you married?" He said, "No, I'm divorced." And the examiner stated, "Nope, you don't have PTSD. You have depression because you divorced." Well, obviously, if the veteran is saying that his wife divorced him because he was no longer the man she married because things changed. And he came back after his second tour, he was totally different. Okay. It's not uncommon. We as vets, we know that, but had a doctor that didn't see it that way. Okay. So I didn't go into too much detail with the veteran, but some examiners, they take some things and they twist your words. So you want to make sure you're clear. Okay. You want to make sure you're clear. He is not your fishing buddy. Okay. Well, I get where I may have gone wrong. Okay. Yep. That's why I do these, Stephanie, but because I want to make sure people don't fall into pitfalls and they get frustrated and they get educated. Okay. Know your symptoms and be honest. There you go. Yep. Gun guy, you are correct. PG, Mr. Kim, have you ever lost the SKL? Spell it out for me. I don't know that acronym. No, I just want to do, I got it hard first. Don't understand that question. Fearful. Understood. Steven says currently 80%, but receiving 100% IUE benefits. Letter said TNP, I'm pretty sure PNT, you are considered to be okay. That's saying the same thing there. Meathead, do I have to get a Nexus letter and file secondary for my recently diagnosed plantar fasciitis? I'm already ready for pest planners. Both are under the same diagnostic code. I think I just talked about that. Gun Guy, thanks again. Gun Guy says, thanks, Dwayne. Great information, video. Appreciate it. This last topic I'm going to talk about is the loan discharge program. Okay. I did a YouTube video on it, and there's some things that changed. That is not a VA benefit. I get asked a lot of questions about it. In the description section, I give the 800 number and the website for the U.S. Department of Education, and I give it in the actual video. Call that 800 number. Ask all your questions, but I will tell you this because somebody asked me. I discharged I was 100% permanent total. I use that benefit to discharge my student loans, but I want to go back to school. Can I take out more student loans? First thing I said was no. It's a one-time benefit. And then I retracted. I said, you know what? From what I know, I would say no. But you have to call that 800 number and ask them that particular question, because what? Things could have changed. Okay. So when I tell people that, I don't, mean to be, I'm not being rude, but I'm just talking about benefits outside of the VA. And some things have changed with that, and they're doing some things different. So I would call to verify. Somebody asked me if I take out a student loan for my dependent that was on my award before I got PNT, can I take out a student loan in my name for them and get it discharged? That's a good question. I would call that 800 number at the U.S. Department of Education and ask them, because they have a list of student loans that they will discharge. And if one of those student loans, if they say yes, ask them which student loan, where is that on the website, get the information before you do it. Okay. Meathead, like I said, I'm going to update on my website. I make sure I have it updated tomorrow. The Nexus training that I'm going to do for next month, January, as it pertains to the Nexus statement. Okay. All right, everybody. I'm just going to go through. I've covered all the topics. I'm going to spend about the next 10 minutes. I want this to be an hour. Okay, we got 65 people and 64 thumbs up. Somebody do one more thumbs up so we can even it out. We got 65 people and 64 thumbs up. So I'm going to spend about another 5-10 minutes on questions. All right. Let's see. Who has this Texas flag? Okay. Can a vet be rated over 100%? Example, 130. No. But if you add up all your conditions, they could go above 100, but it's only going to show 100%. Okay. Let's see. I'm pending. Mr. Spencer says I'm pending an HLR now for GERD. Okay. I got denied after an ACE exam. Yeah, I don't care for those ACE exams. John says, if I was diagnosed with 2 years ago, if I was diagnosed with plantar fasciitis in service 10 years ago, and today my feet hurt, can I open a claim? I have been trying to tough it out. Yeah, you can. I think it was maybe 10 years when I filed my claim for pre-service aggravation for severe pes planus. M. Steele, how you doing, Mr. Steele? Hello. Have you here? VA will be accepting DBQs again. I don't have any concrete information on that, Mr. Steele. When I do, I'm going to drop everything and do a video on that. Okay. Thank you. Alan says, thank you for the answer. I guess I feel not a problem. You're welcome. Salute from Panama. Good info. All right, Mr. Brown, you're down in Panama. Mr. Brown, where are you at in Panama? You Panama City or you over on the Cologne side? A statement. Someone says a statement in support of claim, which is a VA Form 21-4138, is critical to document your severity of your symptoms for conditions capable of being documented by lay accounts. That is correct. Let's see what else we got here. Lamont, Mr. Tate says, Ms. D, I have a question. I was 100% IU PNT and I received an increase to bring me to 100% PNT. How do things change? The only difference between the two, now understand when you grant TDIU, IU, individual unemployability, that means you're probably at like 70, 80, and 90%, but you're getting paid for the 100% rate. You can still work. A lot of veterans think you can't, but you can't make more than poverty level. All right. When you have upgraded from TDIU to 100% PNT, then you can go to work and you can go to Hollywood and be a star on the Kardashians, the reality show, and make millions of dollars is not a problem. Okay. That's the difference between the two. All right. Manuel, Mr. Rodriguez, evening, Dwayne. How you doing? What are your thoughts on vets submitting claims after reaching 100%? I have many more claims I could service connect. I'm not sure if I want to open my claim file anymore. That's up to you. I did it, but I was educated on the process when I did do it to make sure I didn't trip myself up. Okay. So again, you definitely want to be educated before you do that to make sure, if the VA tries to pull any funny business, then you know how to fight back. Can the vet be ready? Okay, I already answered that one. Back exam in 2013, which would justify a rate increase to 20%. Just seeing in my medical record that the doctor documented the exam, could I file a claim with the exam being new and material evidence? New and material evidence. New evidence is evidence that was not part of your claim file at the time of that rating. So, for example, if you got treatment at the VA, let's say Baltimore VA, from 2010 now, and they do a rating decision. From November 2010 to November 2020, you received treatment. In that evidence, and they did a rating decision the 1st of December. They're going to review all that information at that facility over the last 10 years. That cannot be considered new evidence because if you look in the evidence section, they're going to say review medical evidence from the Baltimore VA healthcare system from November 2010 to November 2020. So that's not new evidence. You have to get, now, let's just say you went to a private physician during that time, but you didn't submit that. It wasn't part of your claim file at the time they rated. That could be considered new evidence. Okay. So keep in mind, look at your evidence section in that rating, and whatever's not in there could be considered new evidence. Okay. Now, a lot of times RVSRs could miss it, the evidence, okay, and not list it in the evidence section. So be on the lookout for that. Sammy B, I'm filing an increased claim. I'm already service connected. Do I need to submit old evidence like old military service treatment records or just new? Again, Sammy B, what is the diagnostic code for the condition you're claiming? And what is the percentage you're service connected for? And what is the criteria for the next hire? Your medical records from service have already helped you establish service connection. How has your condition worsened? And what is the criteria for the next percentage for that particular condition, for that diagnostic code? Okay. Let's see. Mike Howard. I put a supplemental claim for insomnia, denied twice, diagnosed in service. VA page says sleep apnea. I have a separate secondary claim for sleep apnea. Is an insomnia a mental health claim? Yes, it is. So again, I would ask Mr. Howard, did you get a CMP exam? If you did, do you have a copy of that C&P exam that shows the medical opinion along with the rationale? If everybody doesn't know what a rationale is, a rationale actually goes into a nexus statement, but a rationale is how that examiner reached the conclusion for a negative opinion or a positive opinion. Okay, that's key. And that's what is missing in a lot of these nexus statements that veterans are paying a lot of money for. Okay. 7B says, I have a DBQ and recent VA healthcare records. Is DBQ sufficient on its own for increased claims? Yes. As recommended, I'd rather not have too much evidence in inadequately filled VA healthcare records. Yeah, DBQ, I mean, that's what yeah, you can just do a DBQ, but again, is it completed correctly? Is it expired? Like I said, I talk to veterans all the time. They say, I'm claiming an increase, and they go pay, a few $100 for a nexus letter, but no DBQ, and it's an increase. So, I'm confused on that. And this whole IMO thing, I don't know what an IMO is. Independent medical opinion. What is that? Please, somebody call me. 800. I'm about to give you VA 800 number. My number is 855. Man, it was 855-765-3137. Somebody please explain to me, what is an IMO? What goes into an IMO? Why would you use an IMO? What is that? I know what it means, independent medical opinion, but what is it? What is that? Just what is it? I'm totally confused. In the last 2 months, nobody could explain to me what it is and what is this purpose as it pertains to the VA claims process. Okay. Wow. Okay. Okay. Just going through, looking at ComSec hurt high level review. Good guy. All right. Take one last question here. Mr. State says, Mr. D, try not to go off of the block. Can you be penalized for lottery winnings if you are 100% PNT? No. New law signed into action. Mia says, recently diagnosed with GERD, endoscopy. I've been taking NSAIDs for years due to my lower back and knee condition. Should I go the same doctor for nexus letter? How are you claiming it? Claiming secondary, you claim it on a direct basis. That's going to determine the nexus letter. But again, what do you need to go along with a nexus statement if you're claiming something secondary? Okay, you got to ask yourself that question. Okay says, with the Texas flag for vet to claim all his disabilities. Don't understand the question. One last question here with last two. Michael Baker, Dwayne, what I was trying to say, reference Google. Google do not provide us the inside information that you give in your videos to file the correct claim. Oh, you are correct. Yep, your education. Hey, I appreciate it, Michael Baker. I'm glad you clarified it for me. Last question, John Thompson. What is the best alternative to an IMO? Mr. Thompson, I do not know what an IMO is. Somebody please explain it to me. I know it stands for what it stands for, but what would you use it? When would you use it? And what goes into an IMO? That's what I need to know. Like, if it's 5 things that goes into IMO, what are those things? And when would you use it? Okay, that's what I would like to know. So, all right, everyone, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna wrap it up. Definitely over the time that I want to do this, but I hope I was able to clarify some things to everyone. So just want to reiterate, go to my website. There's a lot of information there. Go to the description section of all my videos. There's a lot of information there. I'm going to be doing more educational training in 2021, live Q&A, group Q&As, private Q&As, Dbq reviews. So if you have a Dbq, I think somebody asked the question and I didn't answer it. But if you have a Dbq, you need it reviewed, we do that. If you have medical records from service that you want reviewed and us to provide a report for that, we do that as well. Go to our website. Again, look at the trainings coming up for next month. think about 4, 5 different trainings on there. And I'm definitely tomorrow for sure. By CLB tomorrow, I'm going to add the 2 days I'm going to do the training for the nexus statement. Okay. I'm going to do it twice. I was only going to do it once, but I'm going to do it twice. All right. Kane says DK has even better live. Hey, I appreciate it. Stephanie Hurt, thank you very much. Dwayne, you're welcome. Stephanie, I will be checking out the website. Merry Christmas to you and happy holidays to you and your family. Likewise. So, hey, everybody, be safe during these holidays. I know we're still in this pandemic, and things are just going crazy. So definitely, you want to make sure you be safe. I always tease my wife every time I go to the grocery store. I make sure I have my mask on, social distance. And every time I get the sniffles, I'm like, oh man, I got COVID. I got a headache. So it makes me nervous. So definitely, everybody be safe. Deso Brown, outside of the city towards the west. 100% PNT SMCS. Congrats. Pickney. Where did I know? Oh, come and see the picnic. Okay. Yeah, I see you. DK, it was great talking with you yesterday. Likewise. Thank you. You're welcome. And good luck with what we discussed. It could be a hard road. Again, even though it's out, it's, different federal agency. Get educated on it. You got any questions, you know my number, how to get a hold of me. Give me a shout and get some clarification on that, Miss Pickney. DK at the buzzer from downtown is good. All right. Okay. DK at the buzzer from downtown is good. All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks again. Got one last question. Rajman 2003. Can you do benefits at discharge through Ebenefits, or do you need to use a Vaso? Can you do benefits at discharge? Are you talking about the BDD claim? Like if you're on active duty? When I did all my claims, I did it myself. I didn't have my VSO do anything for me. I did have a representative, but it was just because I needed to see what was in my claim folder. I went to my VSO, he could look at it. But I didn't go through my VSO to file any claims. I did it all myself. All right. Thank you, sir. Another great video and not a problem. Photo mate. Gun guy, Merry Christmas, Dwayne. Hey, Merry Christmas to you. So we're gonna go ahead and shut it down. See, we're dwindling it down in the viewers. So again, I do apologize for starting late. I wanted to go at 7:30. I doing a test and had about 6, 7 people in there. They're like, hey, we can hear you. We can hear you. I was doing a test and I jumped off the live stream and started another one. I do apologize. So I'm still new at this whole new live stream thing. So just bear with me, but it's the information that counts. So that being said, thank you for spending your time with me. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for your military service to our country. And I'll see you in the next live stream or one of my educational videos. Thank you. Merry Christmas. Take care. Bye. Delbert Scott, go to my website. Give me a call.